Hello, everybody. Welcome to Surge Marketplace in partnership with RTD Insights. And this is on translating your value proposition to competitiveness and sales growth. Thank you so much for joining us. For today's discussion, this is very special because this is the first time ever, probably, that Prof. Rene is doing it from his consulting mind. Usually, a lot of people would want to leverage from this. So I'm hoping that you will really get the benefit on this one, for you as an entrepreneur and for your business as well. For those of you who don't know me yet, my name is Grace Luxine. I'm a freelancing thought leader and the owner of Surge Marketplace. For today, this is again the company that we have, FBA Business Consultancy, and this is the brand. We do freelancing and remote courses, services, and solutions. And today we're going to be discussing business value proposition into competitiveness and sales and how we can apply it to our marketing perspective into competitiveness and sales as we reimagine our VOP. Quickly, before I'm going to bring in our speaker, please go ahead and let me know in the comment section what industry you're in right now. Are you from the beverage industry, education, food? And quickly, please go ahead also and share this link. Go ahead and tag people, share this training to everyone that you think will really benefit from this one. This is again free and with certification. So the flow of our training, there will be discussions, and then afterwards we will have a question and answer. Hopefully we'll able to bring that in. It's going to be a jam-packed afternoon. We will be here for 1 hour, so we will try to bring in all of the concepts within 1 hour. So the Q&A goes with that. And then in order for you to be certified, we need you to fill in a feedback form, and towards the end we will give you a code, and the feedback form will be up for 3 days only, and the certification or your certificates will be emailed to you within 10 to 15 days. Again, this is us right here. You can connect with us, and please also know that we will be sending you a gift. We will be doing this as well on we don't know yet, but for sure there will be more on this one from RTD Insights. You can follow Prof. Rene via RTD Insights in Facebook. Also connect with him in LinkedIn. Just look for his name. And of course, in Instagram, that's RTD Reflections. Our guest, and of course, the speaker for this afternoon's delight, okay? A lot of us will really benefit from this. Is no other than, of course, Professor Renete Domingo. He's an international business speaker and consultant to many, probably one of the best in the country, and even doing this internationally. He's also an adjunct professor at Asian Institute of Management, which I was a part of under the Masters in Entrepreneurship 2022. It is our pleasure and honor, and my personal honor as well, to bring you in Professor Rene T. Domingo. Hi, Prof.
Hi, Grace. Good afternoon.
Good
Good to see
afternoon.
you. Good to see you. Okay.
Likewise, Prof. Thank you for being here. So we have here a lot of comments, Prof. And I think many are really excited because the pandemic really messed up the whole value proposition of businesses today. Before, we know what's the value of our business, but today it's different. There might be different competitive or key success factors for our customers. And we have here people from food and industry or food and beverage, calibration, skincare. Hi to everybody. Okay, education, consulting, all of this one. So right off the bat, Prof, what do you think happened to the economic system or the enterprises in the country, or maybe even outside, after the pandemic?
Well, Grace, you're right. The economic crisis really affected a lot of industries. No, there practically no exception. So, just like any crisis, we have to learn from this. So we're ready for the next one. So the next one is not a matter of if and when. Okay, it's a matter
True.
of who will be affected. Okay,
That's a
and those
little
who are
scary.
not, who, yeah, it's a matter of who. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's not even a matter of where because it will affect all countries again. In fact, we're having a banking crisis right now. It's affecting
True.
so
Mm-hmm.
many industries, so many countries again, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just a pandemic. You can give a financial crisis. You can have a technological disruption. So readiness is the key, right?
Mm-hmm.
And readiness is not done when you are in crisis. You do it before any crisis. Okay. So hopefully the pandemic taught us a lesson on how to be agile, no? How
Mm-hmm.
to quickly adapt to changing situation, whether it's our
Mm-hmm.
business model, our products, our structure. But today, Grace, our webinar will focus more on the more important area of business where we have to be agile, and this is value proposition.
That's true,
Okay,
Prof. Yes,
so much
because
for balance sheet,
yeah,
PNL. Okay, that can follow. Okay,
mm-hmm. Because
so
I
VP, yes, yes,
Mhm. Yes, Prof. Because I think a lot of, just like you mentioned, after the pandemic, there are still a lot of business owners who are doing the same thing and not restructuring or reimagining the value proposition that matters to the customers. And I think that's why we're here today. And I think that's what you prepared to share with us. So please go ahead and,
yeah, yes. So let me just start sharing what I'm trying to, inform our viewers here on preparedness, right?
yes, Prof.
And okay, can you see my slide? Yes.
Yes, Prof. We
Okay.
can.
So now, when we talk about value proposition, we have to look at the overall, philosophy behind this, no? And let's start with one question. Okay, what are customers really buying? Because all business starts with sales. It starts with customer. Well, the issue is we think we're selling products and services, but actually customers are not buying products and services. Okay? They're buying solutions to their problems and pain points. Whether it's a product or they're buying experiences to realize their dreams or aspiration. So let me give you my first example. I'll give you a lot later on. If you look at fast food industry, the fast food industry is not selling food. They're selling fast. Okay. So without the fast, nobody will buy their food. Okay. So the fast food industry is not in the food business. They're in the fast business. The value proposition is the fast, the quickness, right? So if you're in the quick service industry, you're not selling service, you're selling your quickness. Okay? So if you're not quick, nobody will buy your service. Service products are nothing without value. And value means solution and experiences. So they buy the value and quality of your product. So without the quality, there's no product to sell. There's no service whatsoever. So this becomes a very important mindset change because we're so used in selling products, pushing inventory, mindless of what values they carry to the ultimate buyer. Okay, so they buy value for money. Okay, if you really drill down, they will compare value with price. Okay, because they want really to get something out of their investment. That's not just value. But more about this later. More about this later. So just a comment. So a lot of you are in business, so you will have sales target, quota, KPIs, is the basis of your commission. Actually, this dehumanizes sales. Okay? It becomes a numbers game. So we disregard the customer experience and referrals that are the true drivers of demand. Okay? It's just counting widgets, counting kilograms, counting pieces. So we forget the thing that we're selling. No, we think we're selling, tons of material, kilogram of this. So it's devoid of the customer experience, and this is what happened to the pandemic. No? People are still selling products when the demand has changed already. Expectation has changed. So they just customers just walk away. Okay, because you have not adapted to the new reality, the new expectation presented by the pandemic. Okay, what about your salesmen? Grace, of course, you will talk about marketing and sales later on. So it's really a waste. We were wasting them, no? Okay, your best salesmen are doing pushy selling, hard selling. They're selling products and service to increase market share, sales growth. But they're forgetting about share of wallet, share of mind, no? Share of the heart of the clients. Okay, and this is the new way of selling, no? Selling solutions and experiences rather than selling, products and packages or units of inventory. Okay. So why not teach your salesmen to sell solutions and experiences, whether in the product or service business? So let me give you now probably one of my more important slide here to give you more concrete examples of why do you have to shift from commoditized products to selling compelling value. Now you have to do this with or without the crisis. Okay, you don't have to be a crisis to shift, because even without a crisis, you will have difficulty competing. If you're stuck to the first mindset, which is selling commodity. Let me give you first the two classic ones. No? The classic one is in a B2C. I'll give you a B2C example. You're not selling the steak. You sell the sizzle of the steak. Okay? That's how you sell steak. You sell the sizzle. The appetizing smell, the sight. Another classic example is you don't sell perfume. You sell hope. Okay? You sell hope. I think maybe you're familiar with this, paradigm shift, right? And that's the way to sell a product. You don't sell the product actually. You sell aspects of the product that solves a problem. Okay, that's whether it's hunger or whatever. Yeah? Reputation. So let me give you a good example. If you look at a barber, barber does not sell haircuts. He should not count the number of haircuts he does have. He's selling good looks. No? So at the end of the day, the barber should ask himself, how many people did I make feel good or look good? Then that's the value of a barber shop or beauty parlor for that matter. Okay? So more example, like insurance. Yeah, they're not selling policy, they're selling peace of mind. Now, unfortunately for many insurance companies, they forget the end-to-end meaning of peace of mind. It's not just compensation. In case of disaster or accident, it's also claims processing. They want to get their check, their money right away. So part of peace of mind is fast claims processing. Okay? So if you're an insurance company, you're only good in selling but not in claims processing, then you're not giving the client peace of mind. Okay? Big bikes, 500 to 1000 cc, you're not selling bike, you're selling freedom. Freedom from bad roads, freedom from rush hour, freedom from boredom. So this is how you sell big bikes. Okay? Pets, you never sell animals, or you sell companions. So this is how pet shops should sell dogs and cats and birds. Okay? Companion. You sell a house? No, you don't sell a house. You sell a home. So how do you sell a home? You're actually selling the neighborhood. You're selling your view. Okay? So how do you convert a house into a home? Because the home has value. A house doesn't have a value to the client. Appliance, you sell convenience. You don't sell a metal contraption, their electric contraption. They want convenience, easy to use, user friendly. Okay, amusement ride. How long is an amusement ride? 2 minutes, 3 minutes? No, they want memories. You're selling memories. If you're in the entertainment or resort business, so make sure you're selling memories, not the ride. Courses. These are for those who are running schools, training program. Okay, let's be honest ourselves. Most people study or enroll in college to get a job. Okay, so what you're selling is not a diploma or good teachers or good buildings. No, you're selling employability. Will I get a good job? Will I get a better job after I graduate? So that's the value to the student, not the courses, not the teachers, not the computer laboratory. None of that. Okay? So, plane tickets, cruise, you're not selling tickets if you're a travel agent. You're selling romance and adventure. Okay? Now, this is a very important mindset, because if you look at some, not many travel agents, the travel agent employees are not well traveled. So how can you sell experience if you don't experience it yourself? Okay? So make sure if you run a travel agency, all those selling tickets have traveled to the places that you're trying to endorse, because you're selling experience. Okay, let's go to some B2B examples. So this can also apply to B2B. For example, banks. selling loans to businesses, they're not selling loans, they're selling business growth. So as a banker, when you lend money, make sure the borrower's business prosper using that loan. So prosperity growth is the value of a loan, not the loan per se. So banks should move away from this collectibility, liquidity as their primary concern, or collateral, okay? Because that doesn't give value to the client. Okay? That's the reason they borrow money is to grow their business. It's not necessarily to pay it back on time, get collateral, That's a very traditional, commoditized view of banking. Office chairs. If you're selling office chairs to businesses, you're not selling furniture. You're selling employee productivity. So make sure your chairs are ergonomic. Okay, it reduces the stress of employees, make them work more efficiently in their workplace. So this is B2B. You're selling fertilizers to cooperatives, to farms. Then you're not selling bags of fertilizer. You're selling high crop yields. No? If you're in livestock, if you're in the feed business, animal feed, you're not selling feeds. You're selling very low feed conversion rate, okay, which is equivalent to the yield of the livestock. And if you're in the packaging business, you're not selling bottles, you're not selling boxes. You're selling product protection and promotion. You want to protect the product of the client, and the packaging is a way also to promote the product, promote it in terms of sales. No? So this is a paradigm shift. So if you're a wholesaler, you will have two types of value proposition. Let's say you're a wholesaler who also a retailer. So you have two segments, no? A value proposition for dealers who are resellers, and a value proposition for end customers or consumers. I'll give you more examples of this later. Okay, so here it is. Okay, so let's try to go to actual examples so you can appreciate what I'm trying to say here. Okay? Some of these are classic, and this is where many businesses started. If you look at Domino Pizza's value proposition, of course, they're not selling pizza. They're selling timeliness. 30 minutes or it's free. They started this, okay? Because they're in the fast food business. Walmart, what are they selling? They're not selling merchandise. They're selling stress-free shopping. So you don't have to go window shopping. Every time you go there, you're assured of a low price. You don't have to beat the traffic just to go to a sale or wait for payday sale. All these stressful events of shopping malls. Walmart saying every day is a sale day. Okay? Every day low price. IKEA, okay, to go furniture, okay. You point to furniture, you can take it home. That's their value proposition. One of their value proposition. The other value proposition is it's Scandinavian design at Asian prices or Chinese prices because they make a lot of this in China. Okay, that's a very good value proposition. You don't have to pay European prices for European design. Southwest, of course, the pioneer of low-cost airline, is low cost, no frills, point to point. Not transiting, no transit. Okay, you get to your place like a taxi. Some tailor, during your transit in Hong Kong, you get your suit made, 24-hour suit. Mang Inasal, okay, Mang Inasal in the Philippines was a chicken barbecue restaurant, but what really attracted the customer is the unlimited rice. They started this only rice. No? Okay. It's like saying, well, by the way, we also sell chicken, but actually what attracted the client is unlimited rice. Now I think they've leveled up, and people go to Mang Inasal not because of the rice, but because of the chicken oil. Not the chicken. They like the chicken oil. I've heard this from some customers of Mang Inasal. Mercury Drug, they're not selling drugs. They're selling freshness of the drugs. Okay? That's the value. Okay, it may not be the lowest price drugs in the market, but they guarantee freshness. See, the value is not the product. The value is not the product. Honda, this is the best tagline of them all. Okay, you meet the nicest people on a Honda. So Honda is not selling motorcycle or small bikes. They're selling entrance to a social club, of nice people. Okay, compared to makers of big bikes, no? Which is a different group of people. Zara, okay, the pioneer of fast fashion, just like H&M and the rest. So they give the customers they want faster than anyone, up to the minute fashionability at low prices. So like IKEA, their value proposition is European design at Asian prices. Now how can you beat that? Okay, that's their value proposition. HelloFresh, this is a US meal kit. So take their value proposition is take the stress out of mealtime. Okay, so unlike typical home delivered food, what you get from HelloFresh is food as if you went to the grocery and cook it yourself in the kitchen. Okay, so it's really removing the stress of cooking and going to the grocery. Uber, of course, everybody knows this. Tap a button, pick up in minutes. But I like to translate that to personalized limo at taxi prices. That's how Uber became an institution in the on-demand transport. Apple, think different, seamless integration. They're not selling gadgets. I think Apple doesn't see itself as selling gadgets. They're selling a new way of living a lifestyle. FedEx, they're selling reliability when it is absolutely positively has to be there. This is one of their original value proposition when it was just starting. Amazon, of course, Amazon.com, they sell what? They sell anything under the sun, right? But what they're selling is variety, scope, at the lowest possible prices, just like Walmart. But this is online, where you can browse millions of items in a few seconds. Here's the B2B value proposition Amazon, because they also cater to sellers and resellers. No? So they're not selling a platform to the seller. They're selling a value proposition called sell better, sell more to resellers. Okay, so think about this. No? How do you now reimagine your value proposition? Okay? These are classic examples of market leaders, no? Who are able to scale their business using this value. This is not just a tagline, by the way. These are not slogans. They really do it. Okay, they really execute this. Okay, there are a lot of systems, backroom preparation, supply chain, and operation to support this promise that they deliver. Okay, now the other thing about value is you cannot disassociate it from value for money. Okay? Because once they buy something, they look at the price at the same time. So price is not cost plus margin. Forget about this. Price is the value customers put on the solutions and experiences your products and services deliver. Now, if it happens to be that the value is higher than your cost, then you make money. But if the value is lower than your cost, then sorry for you, right? You're overpriced. Or your high cost. So customers don't really care about your cost or profit. They care about the value they put on the solutions that your products deliver. Okay? So think about this when they make purchase decision. And they do not decide on value or price alone. They decide on value and price. We call it value for money, or value divided by price. Okay? So they compare the two. So it doesn't have to be low price or high price, because you factor the price. You compare the price with the value. So this is how your value proposition should be conveyed. No? Deliver value for money, superior value for money in your same. I think we saw examples of this in Zara earlier with Walmart and Amazon, where they talk about lowest price at the highest value. Okay, now just a very important insight here. No? Okay, giving a discount will not help you sell more, not necessarily. If your product has very low value, it may not even sell at a discount. But if your products have very high value, you may even sell more of it if you increase prices. Now, this is counterintuitive, right? So, because we just play with price. No, you cannot just play with price. It's not a price game. You really have to enhance your value, okay? To make sure you have the right price for this. So, obviously, anything overpriced relative to its value won't sell. Now, the best industry is actually the stock market, hotel, airline, and on-demand transport because they do dynamic pricing. Okay? So the price change depends on the value, no? Whether it is rush hour or it's peak time, the prices change, no? Especially in the stock market. In the stock market, the price of a stock is always correct. It's always the public's perception of the value of the company, and that can change every second, every minute, and the price will change. Okay, so unfortunately for many businesses, among our viewers, our prices are fixed. We have a price tag, we have fees, and we cannot change the price if the value drops or go up. So what will happen? The customers will just, you know, make a decision. Instead of you dropping the price or increase, they reduce sales or increase sales. So that's a signal that you have wrong price. You have the wrong price or the wrong value. So there is hope. You don't have to be in the high-end business to deliver outstanding value for money. You can be in the low price, low end, or the high-end, high price. You can still be a market leader, huh, in value for money. By the way, market leaders are not necessarily the lowest price sellers. They are market leaders because they're the highest in value for money. Okay? So, now you may ask the question, how do we measure value? How do we know we delivered value? Okay, so here are some principles of determining what is and what is not value. A paying customer is not value. So don't count paying customer. You count happy customers. A happy customers, a customer that is happy must have received value. A paying customer is not necessarily happy. Maybe that is his last payment or last purchase. Order fulfilled is not value. A memorable sale is value. There's assurance he will order again. Okay? Customer satisfaction is not value. There's no loyalty there. It must be customer delight. Delighted customer receive the value they want and they will likely come back. But not satisfied customer. There's no guarantee. Defect-free quality is not value. But fitness for use is value. Okay. A restatement of that is something like this. No? Doing it right is not value, but doing the right thing is value. Okay. What's the point of doing it right if it is the wrong thing? Nobody would buy it even though it's not defective. So low price is not value. Aim to save your customers time and money, and that is value. Value is not what the seller sells, but it is what the buyer buys. This is a very important mindset when developing value proposition. Let the buyer decide. And you have to use empathy here, the voice of the customer, listening skills, or another way of saying it, value is in the eyes of the buyer and not the seller. So let me give you some examples of this very important principle when you develop a value proposition. Okay? More concrete example. Okay, those of you are in the food industry. The taste of a dish is not in the tongue, is in the tongue of the diner. It's not the opinion of the chef. Okay, so customer feedback is very important. The softness of a cloth, in case you're in the apparel business, is in the skin of the wearer. It's not dictated by the manufacturer. So we have to be outside looking in. We cannot be inside looking out when we develop value proposition. The appearance of the house is in the eyes of the buyer, not decided by the architect. So similarly, the architect cannot decide whether it's a good design or a bad design. The buyer will decide. What about service quality? Well, the attitude, promptness of frontliners will be decided by customers, not HR department nor their trainers. Okay. So just to summarize, how do we develop a good value proposition? Well, as we said, it must be the right value based on your study of your clients, expectation in terms of solution and experience. It must have the right value for money, the right price. The right price doesn't mean high price or low price. It must match the value that you're trying to deliver or promise. Compelling, of course, unique, differentiating from, and of course, competitive. Okay. Very important part is you may have different market segments. You have to adapt your value proposition to your different targets. You may have several value proposition if you have many market segments that are being targeted. No? And lastly, very important, sure, you may target the segment that, but your customer may change over time, regardless of segment. So you have to be dynamic. You have to innovate your value proposition. Okay. So right now in the post-pandemic world, no, new normal, consumer expectation has changed. So a lot of businesses will have to re-examine their pre-pandemic value proposition. It might have changed. It might have to be tweaked or modified. For example, what are the new consumer expectations that will persist even after the pandemic? Because we developed this habit in 2 or 3 years. This will not just suddenly go away. It may become permanent. Number one, we become more safety conscious, right? Health conscious. We want convenience. We don't want businesses to waste our time being exposed to the elements. We want connectivity. We want technology to, quicken the transaction, access, processing, etc. We want speed. Customers want speed. Okay? They want seamless service. Few contact, one contact, no contact if possible. They want no touch, low touch, few touch, fast touch. They want to touch anything. Yeah? So in case you're in the touch business, make sure you address this for our new customers. No? Social distancing, no crowd, small crowd, fast queue, no queue. So these are the new expectation. Okay? A lot of people are still worried about joining crowds just to buy something. Okay? And of course, more recently, what happened to Itaewon in Korea just tells us that with or without COVID, crowd is not a good customer experience. No, so you have to make sure that whether you're in the food business, retailing, avoid these kinds of experiences, crowded experiences. And then home-centric. No, people would want to buy, do everything from the house. Okay. So they want to buy, sell, study, work, play, exercise, or celebrate from home as much as possible. I'm not saying they're not going to get out of their home, but if you develop product and service that will be home-centric, then you might be giving a very current, very real value proposition. Now, the next step is once you develop the right value proposition, you have to deploy it and align it with all the elements of your company, starting from vision statement, company values, slogan, motto, brand image, USP, ad copy, tagline, design philosophy, even your strategy, business model, canvas, and balance score. Everything must be on the same page. They must telegraph the same value proposition. You cannot have a value that is saying something while your quality policy is saying something else, right? Or your sales speech is saying something else. So they all have to be synchronized, consistent. No? One message from all these company, activities and documents, no? Including company song and brand image. Okay, what next? The final step is actually not the end. It's continuous innovation of the value. Okay? Continuous improvement. So we have to extend the value. Now, what I like to share is what we call pivoting or leveraging. Right? Now, if you look at your value, it actually comes from core competencies that you develop over time. And core competencies are not products. These are expertise skill in developing a value for your target market that you develop over time. Now, what you can do, instead of diversifying into similar products, you extend it to other value streams and business. Now, this is very good because if your current product or service is affected by a crisis, you can pivot, you can diversify into industries that are more lucrative or more crisis-proof, using the same values and core competencies. Let me give you my favorite example, and this is a pawn shop. No? Now, a pawn shop can be transformed into a jewelry shop and a money remittance center very easily. Now you may say, okay, these are three different industries. What's the connect? Well, if you look at it, they look like three different in actually if you look at the value they give customer, it's the same. Okay? They give security, safety, privacy, convenience. So if you're running a pawn shop, you're already expert in security, safety, privacy, cash management, fraud detection. Now, let's say there's another crisis and pawn shops are not making money, there's no demand. Then you can easily switch to jewelry shop using the same employees, the same buildings, the same skill set, the same counters. Now, if jewelry shop is hit by a crisis, you can move to money remittance, to forex center, because you're using the same skill set, the same core competency, and you are repurposing the value, extending the value to a different market segment. So you're still viable as a business. You may be shifting market segment, but that's okay. You're still reusing, recycling the same assets, the same employees, and selling the same value, through different industries. So let me conclude, Grace, with this advice to our viewers on what's the next step after this short sharing with you. Okay, the first step is try to ask yourself, what business are we really in? What industry? Are we really in the food business? Are we really in the education business? Try to rethink, imagine. Maybe you're no longer there. You're selling something. If you look at gas station, they're not selling gasoline. They're selling tires, batteries, malls, you name it. They have fast food inside the gasoline station. So the gasoline station is not in the gas business. Half of their sales may be coming from tenants, from selling non-fuel items. Next step, maybe you have to relaunch your business, reposition it, or maybe the better word is reformat, reboot. Okay? And you have to do this before the next crisis. Forget about your past, because the past belongs to the past, and you may have past success because you were addressing past values. Now, in the future, the values would have changed, even the present, so you cannot connect the past to the future. Customers can change. So finally, my last word is build the ark before the next storm, and or redesign it before the next flood, the next crisis. So Grace, thank you. I think what we can do is try to share with our viewers the next step in marketing and sales strategy. How do you now fine tune, realign your marketing with your new value proposition? So I would like Grace to help us with this next step. Grace, maybe you'd like to.
Thank you, Prof. I actually really learned a lot again. I know we've been discussing all of this, and I believe a lot of people are also benefiting from this. So, allow me to share a little bit on how we can apply the very concepts of what we learned through the strategy of VOP, understanding value proposition from our customers. We'll bring in Prof. Rene afterwards. So, with the proposition that we are learning, we mentioned, I mean, it was mentioned earlier that it needs to start from our customers. It needs to be really customer centric. So for me, in applying it into marketing and sales, applying the understanding of value proposition, now understanding what really matters to our customers, we won't be able to do that if we don't have the right data. If we're just projecting what we feel like, we understand from the perspective of our customers, but we are not the customers. Okay, it was mentioned earlier that taste is defined via the customers eating in the restaurant, not via the chef. Okay, so as a test with regards to this type of concept when it comes to values, allow me to ask you. Okay, so we have an iPhone right here in the picture. All right. Who do you think will really value iPhone 13? I'm not really sure what number is it now. Let's just say the latest iPhone model, okay? Who do you think will value this the most? Is it class A and B? Okay, customers A and B, these are the rich people, these are like probably in the millionaires, okay? Or class C and D, okay? Please add it in the comment section. So we're understanding. So from this, we can go and segue into how we're understanding the value proposition and make it applicable into our marketing strategies, into competitiveness and sales. Okay, in the comment section, please add. Okay, is it A and B or C and D? Okay, who do you feel like will really benefit or will really value an iPhone 5? Okay, or no, I'm not really sure what type of it. And while you guys are typing in, let me just go ahead and give a shout out to all of the Win Credit Corporation in Legazpi. They mentioned, Prof, that all of their staff really are eating and are watching. And I believe everybody who's also gathered around their TV to just watch this one, thank you very much. Okay, so hi to everybody in Win Credit Corporation and everybody that's gathered around their TV, staff, people that are benefiting from this. Okay, so we have answers here, and most of your answers are A and B. Okay, so we have this A and B. So these are people that are, rich, they can afford. Okay, and from this type of concept, this is where we can really identify who values this type of product, because again, we have to identify what is the value proposition here, what is the very need of the customer when they're actually buying an iPhone. Okay, and if we're really going to go deeper and understanding the value proposition, iPhone is for the value of iPhone is not actually convenience or price, but it's more of pride, it's more of confidence, it's more of showing off. Okay, so when we're really going to dig deeper, it's more of class C and D that are buying iPhones, probably also A and B. But even if, we won't, what I'm saying here is we shouldn't take out the list, the C and D, because even if it's pricey, people from C and D will really gather all the money, will save for it because it is a value for them. Okay, they want a phone that they can show off. They want, even without knowing the features, without knowing comparing it when it comes to Samsung or other brands, because it matters to them. Okay, so based on our answers, we may be missing out what really is value proposition to real customers. Okay, so this is where I'm coming from, that why value proposition matters in driving competitiveness and sales, because if we're missing out what value is driving real customers, okay, it's not going to be based on us as entrepreneurs, based on us as head and leaders, okay, and marketing team. It's going to be based on the value that customers are perceiving. Okay, so a lot of the traditional or even the marketing strategies today are not really reimagined, and a value proposition that is not reimagined is very costly. Okay, sometimes, and this is based on my experience and based on the experience with the enterprises that I've worked, over the past few years, most of the marketing strategy is walking in the blind. It's like blind leading the blind. We are going to go ahead and target one segment, and one ad, one solution fits all. Okay, it's more product based or company based. This is what's matter to us. This is more comfortable to us. Okay, it's not really customer based. We're not really understanding the value that matters to the customers. This is why we're missing value proposition into competitiveness and sales. As long as we're hitting targets, as long as we have, and our salesperson are like going there and marketing, as long as we're hitting what we need to target in quarterly basis. But what matters is towards the end, we run out of customers because we're producing products and services that are not aligned to the value that matters to them, that is a delight to them. Okay, so again, as a reminder, we need to be humanizing sales. We need to treat sales not just as a financial transaction, as companies, as business owners, as entrepreneurs. Okay, we need to wake up and really go deeper than the price, than treating our customers by just, the ROI, by the sales, okay, by sales quota, by exchanges of cash. We need to humanize it. We need to look into what matters to them. Okay, what are the things that they actually value. This is why we're talking about this. And when we understand that, when we're able to pinpoint that one, then we can really drive proper sales, proper competitiveness. We will soar, with our businesses because we heard our customers. Okay, we would go into different dimensions. Also, when we are doing a value proposition that's just fits all, it's a transactional type of business. Okay, they go through the funnel and that's it. After that, no more. They buy us. Okay, they buy our products, they avail our services, but after that, no more. Okay, there's really no viral loop, and we're missing out a lot of other opportunities to also keep the customers because we miss the value for them. Okay, the taste, the delight, the things that were mentioned, the safety. Okay, what matters to them? We are not keeping them because after probably going to a restaurant, they're not coming back because it was pricey, because the staff there was no speed. Okay, because we did not really go through and understand our customers. Okay, and probably we're missing out the opportunity to grow through referrals, through other types of word of mouth and other marketing strategies, because again, it's just transactional. It's not really experiential. It's not viral loop. Okay, so the question for now is, in understanding value proposition into competitive and sales, how are we measuring customer delight? Okay, we have to really think that. We have to be very specific when measuring it. How are we really measuring it? If we're going, because most often, okay, how are we earning from current clients? Are they bringing in more clients, or we stop after they go out of the door, or we stop, as long as we're hitting in, the targets that we feel like we need? So that's really dehumanizing sales, and we're missing out the value proposition, driving it into targeted sales and competitiveness. So oftentimes also in social media and digital marketing, we have this. Okay, so, and this is what I'm really going to show you. Like, for example, in our Facebook, we have 200,000 likes. Okay, and it's telling us that the one that is, and this is oftentimes our basis when it comes to us targeting our customers. Okay, it's telling me that right here, the ones that are coming in as my customers, these are women. Okay, this one right here, women from 35 to 34 years old. Okay, so when I'm doing ads as well right here, so I'm usually just using this basis when it comes to marketing, when it comes to driving sales, when it comes to competitiveness, but it doesn't actually measure the right value for the customers. Okay, according to our studies and according to our experience, and as a customer, this is a tip, for everybody. Number one, we have to gather the right data, and we have to own that data. Okay, so for example here, when we actually measured what matters to our customers, we were able to identify that even if Facebook is telling us, or social media or digital marketing was telling us that the one liking us or the one following us are women 25 to 34 years old, the one buying our courses, the one who appreciates who we are people. Look at this. Okay, this is actually a real form of the one that enrolled. So these are 44 years old. We have here 44, 44. Okay, they're still coming from 25 to 34, 35, 35 and up. Okay, so we may be missing out the real value proposition for the real target market if we're not really gathering the right information and we don't own the data. So here again, we have to identify the real value that our customers appreciate. So again, if we're a restaurant, it might be taste, speed. This was explained earlier. So it shouldn't be just price alone. Again, this was explained earlier again. Okay, so it might be speed. Okay, employability. For coffee shop, it might be rest. Okay, massage. It might be hygiene, cleanliness. Okay, a short touch, all of that. Beauty products, financial services. All right, so this might be some of the values that your customers really appreciate. So you have to know that. So just like what I mentioned here, maybe a simple Google form, website plugins will do, or maybe a simple data gathering will do. You have to really understand and look into your target market. But from then, you would be able to find solutions for your segments. Okay. When you understand the value, channels will come in. Where are they staying? Where are they hanging out? What is the channel that is best for them? What will be the journey that they will really appreciate? Okay. Who are the people involved in the process? This is where you can bring in the human resource. Okay. The proper personal and the human resource, the human the demographics that you need to be touching, okay, and what will be the segments and the solutions for each, okay, the voicing, your dynamic pricing, okay. And that happens if you're capturing the right data. Okay. So an example of this one is when we launched our courses before, it was just like, okay, everybody can avail remote working, digital marketing training, can, avail of our social media services. But then from our data here, we noticed that there are people that are 18 to 24. So these are probably people without experience and may need, okay. So we're able to really go into the value that each of these people group. So we're able to capture and provide solutions for each of the customer segments. Okay. So we are offering, like, for example, this one, entry level. Okay. So a simple journey for those that are needing, probably these are college graduates. So this is just an example. So even for here, instead of, starting in your suppliers, okay, your site book, you can start by starting and understanding your customers first, and then afterwards go into offering, what will be the output, the processes, identifying that, and so on. So basically, Prof. Rene, I'm just giving an example on how people can go ahead and bring in, from the perspective that you shared earlier, capture that data and identify that value, and then maybe bring in, a new offer, a new product. Maybe even, from the product segment, they would turn into services. It's not different, maybe a new industry. So it all starts with understanding the value, and then afterwards, you would be able to give the right solutions to your segments and drive competitiveness and sales. That's it for me, Prof.
Yeah, thank you, Grace. I think you gave our viewers a very comprehensive landscape, no, on how to move to the next step as you reimagine your value proposition, because you have to deploy this into marketing strategy, segmentation, and sales. No?
Mm-mm.
So let me just share some more examples just to reinforce what we're trying to convey our viewers here. Eh?
Yes, Prof.
The more concrete examples, I think the better you can grasp the principle. So I'll do that by answering one of the very important questions we receive, and this is, how do you compete in a red ocean? Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're selling commoditized products. The problem is, and this is a problem so common with many industries actually, they're in red ocean, everybody's trying to sell the same thing to the same people. So what do? They do a price war, and this is not healthy. They do discounting, bundling, all these things, which is not useful. No? Okay, nobody wins. And then they cannot improve the product because the product is a commodity. No? You do incremental change, there's no change in demand. It
Mm-hmm.
becomes a random choice. Okay, you're lucky if a customer walks in, but tomorrow he walks out and walks into another neighboring competitor. So how do you survive this using value proposition? So let me give you probably three examples, okay, on how do you compete. You don't have to go to the blue ocean. Forget about blue ocean. You can make money in red ocean, okay? Okay. But you have to find a little blue in the inside that red. Okay. So how do you do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you do that? Example, if coffee shop. Yeah, everybody's familiar with Starbucks. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's not. They don't sell the best coffee in the world. They don't really brag. This is the best coffee. They're better coffee, but they're the biggest coffee shop in the world. Okay, the most recognized brand wise and in terms of scale. Okay, now if you ask them, what are you selling? They probably say, we're not selling coffee. Okay? We're selling ambience. Okay, because improving the coffee doesn't really help because everybody
Mm-hmm.
can claim, oh, we have a better coffee than you. So you change the game. Okay, you go to value. So what do
Yes.
they do? Oh, we have better barista. We have better social area where you can talk. We have better ambience. So that tips the balance, right? Now they're
Mm-hmm.
selling value. They're selling a place to talk. Not only talk to your friend, you can talk to the barista who can empathize with you because they're the same age as the customers. So you change the game. Okay? You know,
Mm-hmm.
coffee shop is so crowded. It's so red ocean. But
Mm-hmm.
Starbucks shines. Because, okay? The same with fast food, no? Everybody, you know, burger is burger, no? Unless you go to fine dining burger in a hotel, then all burgers should be. So they change, they do fast food. No? That was the original break the tie, no? Quick
Mm-hmm.
service. The most classic I can share with you is you know, a gas station. You know, in the good old days, even nowadays, you know, all gasoline are the same, right? They're the same because they're controlled, and the prices are more or less the same. You cannot give discount. The prices, they will go parity, right? It's really a red ocean if you're in the fuel
Mm-hmm.
business, no? Both in quality, which you cannot change, and in price, which you cannot change. Okay, so much. So what do they do? So if you're a gas station along highways like SLEX and what is your value proposition? You know, everybody will gas up anywhere. So they compete on restroom. Who has the better restroom? Okay,
True.
because along highway it's a stopover for
Yes.
restroom, not to gas up. Because you can gas up anywhere. So they pick a gas station that has the cleaner, better restroom, and that will
Mm-hmm.
drive the sales of gasoline and diesel. So you refocus on that value proposition that you're providing convenience, not fuel. Fuel
Yes.
is just by the way. By the way, we also sell fuel, but we're selling our restroom. Now they're selling their restaurants. They're selling everything else. No? One-stop shop. They're selling their factory outlet. There are even factory outlets in gas station. So this is the way to break the mindset. No, stay in that red ocean, but change the
Mm-hmm.
game. Right?
Yeah.
Change the game, and then you can increase your sales, right? Indirectly, no, by selling another value proposition.
Mm-hmm.
By
Mm-hmm.
selling another value proposition.
Differentiating it as well, Prof,
Yeah,
from your.
differentiating. Yeah, you're not changing the core product. You're not
Mhm.
changing the fuel. You're not changing the coffee. You're not gonna
Yes.
compete on coffee or
Mhm.
gasoline. You're competing on something else that will break the tie, right? So people will walk into your coffee shop or gas station or to your restaurant. Huh? Same with hotels. No? Hotels are, you know, roof over your head, the same hotel. So how do you
Mm-hmm.
compete in hotel? Then you compete on the restaurant. Our restaurants have better food. So because you have better food, you
Yes.
get more hotel
Mm-hmm.
guests, right? This is what
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling some of my students and clients in the hotel business. Forget about roof over your head. It's gonna be the
Mm-hmm.
same. Huh? You differentiate on the meals, huh? On the meals, and then that will increase your sales in bookings of the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's my probably my last few words. But I want to, if you want me, Grace, to reiterate my last few words, I go back to
Yes,
my
Prof.
last
Go
slide.
ahead. I
So
know we
build the
have.
ark, huh?
Yeah.
Build the ark, build the ark before the storm. Hmm?
Nice.
Don't wait for the next crisis because it's gonna come. Whether it's another pandemic, another financial crisis, it's gonna happen. Huh? Another war, a war is going on, a banking crisis is going on. Everybody's affected. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, by a war in Europe is affecting
True.
everybody in Asia, right?
Mm-hmm.
A crisis in Switzerland is affecting, stock market here in Asia. Huh? A crisis in California is affecting us here in
Yes,
Southeast
Prof.
Asia. Imagine
Mm-hmm.
that. Okay, you don't know where the crisis will start. It will end elsewhere, right? So be ready to be agile. And
Mm-hmm.
agility means be quick in reconfiguring your business model and your value proposition. Adapt.
Yes.
Expectation will change overnight by your customers.
Mm-hmm.
And they
So the
can change
entrepreneur.
very quick. Yeah.
Yes, Prof. So the entrepreneur should be more proactive in setting this, building the ark than waiting for the flood to come in and then try to firefight it. So it did a lot of proactive measures and preparing before the next pandemic or other challenges when it comes to business owners and businesses to come.
Yeah. I have one question there. I
Mhm.
have already answered the restaurant industry. I have a lot of
Mhm.
examples on food. But there's a question on bookkeeping and services audit.
Mm-hmm.
accounting. You know, I have some clients in this financial products. I told them your job is not just accuracy, okay, and due diligence,
Mm-hmm.
or balancing the balance sheet. Your job is to minimize disruption to operation. Okay, because when you audit, when you do bookkeeping, it's a disruption, right? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
things slow down as you do recording. So it has
Mm-hmm.
to be seamless. That's how to sell bookkeeping, no? Minimal disruption to operation, to sales. No? You don't become a bottleneck, no? In
True.
servicing clients,
Mm-hmm.
because the value proposition of any business is selling to clients, not recording things. No, the recording is a necessary thing, but it doesn't really add value. It has to be done, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it should minimize disruption to operation and to sales. That's the value proposition of bookkeeping. Because if you compete on accuracy, everybody will say, "Oh, we have CPA, we are accurate." It's the same. It's a
Yeah.
red ocean. We have so
Mm-hmm.
many CPA, so many
Mm-hmm.
accounting firms in the world. How do you compete there? So
Mm-hmm.
think like the gas station. Huh? How do you
Mm-hmm.
think differently? You're not selling
Totally
accounting.
understand.
Yeah, you're selling productivity. Reduce the downtime of your clients when they
Mm-hmm.
do recording, inventory count. All these things are really downtime. Okay.
The turnaround time should be faster, but the accuracy
Turnaround
is
time. Yeah,
mm,
accuracy is a given. That's a commodity, right?
yes,
That's a commodity.
that's
That's not
already a
value.
given.
That's not a value.
Mm.
People will not get your accounting from because you're accurate. I
If
don't
you're
think
not
that's the.
accurate, they will not hire
They will not
you.
even hire you. But so many accurate bookkeeping companies, they will select who will give better value for me, who
True,
will do
true.
this quicker than the rest. Some will do it in 2 days. I'll do it in 2 hours. You get the business. You do it in 2 hours.
Yes,
The rest will do it
that's
in two
correct.
days. Now you remodel. You
Mm.
reboot your auditing firm or whatever accounting. So
That's
this is
correct.
how you will look at the other service sectors.
Mm.
No? Okay? Forget about old values. The old values, you still remain a
Are given.
commodity, are
Mm-hmm.
given. That's
Mm-hmm.
not value. That's not value. Hmm? Food safety. Our food is safe and clean. Okay. I don't think you will attract clients if you say our food is clean and safe. Okay. That's a given. That's not value.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's not value. Huh? Okay, great. So maybe
Thank you very
we
much,
can.
Prof. Yep. Unfortunately, we don't have time. I believe others are still asking questions.
Yeah,
Maybe
I know. I can see
go
it.
ahead. Yep. Yep. So maybe they can go ahead and just connect with you, Prof. This is Prof. Rene's social media sites. You can directly connect with him there and ask questions and follow. He's always posting on a regular basis when it comes to insights for business owners, for managers. Go ahead and follow in his Facebook. That's RTD Insights. You can also connect with him in LinkedIn. That's Reneti Domingo. And Instagram, it's RTD Reflections. We hope that this has been a blessing and is helpful when it comes to your business. You're able to somehow open your mindset into how to understand value proposition in driving sales and competitiveness for your business. And thank you once again, Prof. We
Thank you
appreciate your
too,
time.
Grace.
Thank you very much. And that's it, everyone. God bless. And we'll see you on the next episode. We'll probably be doing this more and more. We'll ask Prof. Rene. And we want to be able to go ahead and share more value to you as well to business owners because we know this is very much needed. Bye, everyone, and God bless you all.